been at this now for around 3 months, just creating Google Docs, sending emails to community leaders, trying to set up interviews with people, creating social media graphics, and it's just been weird, because you never think that it takes so much effort just to let two girls hold hands. A lot of people say what we're doing is stupid, that it doesn't matter, or that it's not at the end of the world if this dance doesn't go on. And they're not wrong, but this isn't just about a dance. It's about holding people accountable, addressing the school and their persistent homophobia in defense of it. Because if they're willing to break their own rules just to prevent two girls holding hands, what rules will they break next? Perfect. So why don't we just start with a brief background on yourself?
Okay. I'm a graduate of Douglas Lampson in '97. I got a full scholarship at FSU.
Nice.
First African American male to be admitted to FSU program.
Nice.
MT program. I did my master's at Case Western. Got a full scholarship for that. Went on to do In the Heights, Disney.
Awesome.
AIDA, International, a cruise ship, and now I'm back teaching.
That's awesome. And what do you love most about your profession in teaching and engaging with students?
Well, where I am right now at Douglas Lampson, they just allow me to be me, and they make the environment easy and safe for me.
That's awesome. And now kind of navigating more towards the situation going on at Episcopal, to the best of your memory, can you recall the entire situation from start to end with a piece of the prom and what your role was in that?
Sure. Well, it was very simple, and it really wasn't that much at length. However, I was asked to come in to take the place of a choreographer from Canada who couldn't be here because of COVID. I went in, they asked me to bring something to the table. I said, okay, prom. And I said to students, I said, y'all okay with this? They were like, yeah. We're excited about it. So we got started on it. I pretty much got halfway through it the first day. Then I get email saying that they didn't want to disturb the process. However, they didn't think it was appropriate for that the climate of the school wouldn't want to accept it.
Okay.
So without question, I didn't ask any questions. I said, okay, I found something else.
Interesting. So what a lot of the issue was regarding, from what we've heard, is that they wanted to avoid as much controversy from, I guess, having a middle school audience. And where a lot of the conflict comes into play is, one, this piece was proposed and approved, so it's a little bit confusing as to why we're backtracking now. And the other thing that is very confusing is the fact that the school has done kind of raunchy and risque pieces in the past.
I've heard.
Like, we've done Chicago. And just recently, I believe they did a piece called Into the Woods, and there's a lot of adultery and rape and kind of those kinds of themes, yet middle schoolers were even participating in that.
Yeah, and I'm really working on high school right now, but they're like 2 or 3 middle schoolers that like in parentheses, if you will. Back up, just in case.
And I mean, I don't think, well, the other argument that they're proposing, not only just a middle school audience, is in one of their meetings, assistant head of school, Casey Gilbertus, said that the piece was quote unquote made appropriate for the school. And why do you think that the school deemed 2 girls holding hands inappropriate?
I didn't see a problem with it at all. I didn't see this coming at all. I mean, I didn't have them kissing, which what the show calls for.
Right.
But I didn't allow it to happen because I knew what we were. Just trying to keep in tune with the climate of the school and move things forward.
Right. And I feel like at least from knowing the context of the situation that I do know, you walked that fine line very gracefully with indulging in the artistic value, but also the social value of what the piece was supposed to contribute. And just being an alumni myself of the school at Episcopal, I know that they work towards campaigning for diversity and work towards campaigning for acceptance and amplifying voices, but it's only to like a certain extent. Once boundaries are being pushed too far, then things start to be a little bit put into a box.
Yeah, but I didn't see, I honestly didn't see that moment being an issue.
Right.
Because I really tried to avoid the subject area, period. Just to have fun with dance and just have fun. And that's it. Right.
It was a very, from what I know, a very innocent way of tackling something that's kind of nudging, just at most.
I recently heard my a good friend of mine works there.
Oh, yeah.
And, he told me it came up in the conversation. And I won't call his name, but he said the vocal lady has a lot of rude things to say about me. I had never met her.
Really? Interesting.
And he said he shut her down like, no, that ain't right.
Nope, not right at all.
Thank you for that. I don't know who she is.
No, and that's what's very interesting is the complete lack of respect for your role in this entire situation. You have to take time out of your day, out of your schedule to come choreograph this piece just for it to be completely run over, for people to have the audacity to talk about you and your choreographing and just completely disregard the role that you do play in this entire thing. And the issue isn't necessarily you, but how the school's handling it. We wouldn't have a problem if they weren't handling it the way they went about it.
Exactly.
And do you think that, and then with the whole argument about kind of, I guess, censoring the education of middle schoolers, walking the fine line of what is in middle school education and high school education, what do you think is the role of an educator in this situation? As someone who has that power and influence, are we really educating our students in this situation, or are we limiting them?
I think the role is for an educator to be neutral and fill out the students and where they are. Have to meet the students where they are. We can't just assume just because we feel some way, and assume that they're going to be influenced. It's not about that. It's about where they are at the moment and learn where they are so we can actually have a conversation. Right.
And it's about having that conversation, not indulging in neglect, because then what are we doing? Just feeding and perpetuating ignorance.
I think the more we try to hide, the more problems we run into.
Yeah.
I've learned that myself.
Exhibit A, where we are right now. And another thing that's relatively funny to us is within our campaign, we're kind of pushing for them to revise this section of their website that initially stated, it left out that they did not discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation. And then they came out with an email saying, we revised it. We now include that we don't discriminate on sexual orientation. And it was like a very small milestone because it was like, that's great, but are we actually going to listen and adhere to that rule? Because what does it mean if we are providing unfair treatment to the LGBTQ community by not even letting a dance with two girls holding hands be performed? And so, sorry, go ahead.
It only became an issue to that light because they made an issue.
Right. And another thing that was really funny, and that it's just contradictory after contradictory. They had a dance right before winter break where they had something about the theme of Christmas, and at the end of the dance, these two girls were holding hands. And it was like, all right, so when we're feeding the Christian narrative, that's fine. That's fine.
It's not a big deal. Yes.
Right. Of course. And I just feel like there's a lot of contradictions that are coming up, and they're at a loss here because they can't even use their own rule book to defend what they're doing because their own rule book is against them. So how do you see the school's decisions and like their actions in alliance with these rules, or what do their actions necessarily say about these rules?
I think they need to go back and relook at what they're doing. It doesn't line at all. And they're contradicting themselves, and and then you find the kids are getting confused.
Exactly. They're getting more.
And these kids are smart. They're not dumb at all by no start.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And why do you think the school acted in this way over two girls holding hands? A school that's put on a performance like Chicago, saying that two girls is too inappropriate to be holding hands.
They're afraid of what could be. They're afraid of the unknown, and that's okay. But you gotta deal with it at some point.
It's inevitable, yeah. It's what I've been talking about with some of my friends is that it's inevitable that someone in that student body is going to be queer. It's inevitable that someone's going to be on the gender spectrum, and we'd rather address that rather than put them in this blinding light,
I think the more we show them instead of talking about it, the better off we are.
Right. And how do you think you were initially trying to translate that in this piece, and now where has that gone?
Just to be at a neutral point where it can be seen by everybody and not offended by everybody. But the hierarchy took it to the left and made something it wasn't.
Right.
That's where we are now.
And do you find yourself struggling to kind of fit that hierarchy, walking that fine line of what is too offensive and what is not? If two girls are holding hands is offensive? Not
at all. Not at all, because it is what it is. And if they got a problem with it, that's their problem, not mine.
Exactly. Way to stay resilient. And going forward, what do you think that the school could have done differently?
Actually come in and see what's going on. Yeah, there's no administration came in at all, and the director of arts heard about it. She never came to see it.
Interesting. It's really interesting how these people who never really dedicated their attention or their time to something that they had such a big role in are now the lead voices in something that they didn't even know about to begin with. And
so
sorry, you were saying?
I find that kind of not weird, but I guess I can expect that.
Yeah. So just like being more involved with what your role demands and the responsibilities.
And when you find yourself with uncomfortable situation, you sort of either pull back or you kind of face it, and they refuse to face it.
Right. Then what would be something that you wish you could say to the dancers who were robbed of this piece, or to any students who are currently hurting because of the actions of the school?
Just know that, like I tell my DA students, your school is not the end of all means. It's just a moment, you get past it, and you're on something else they don't.
Yeah. That's exactly how I look at it. I remember when I was in high school, I was just thinking school is just one of the things in my life. It's not my entire life.
Absolutely, yes.
I just have to get through this. And then one of the questions that we've been getting a lot from past teachers, current teachers at the school, are what are some actionable ways that adults can demonstrate support, having to work in an administration that's so limiting and having to participate in that, but not condoning those actions?
But one, first of all, don't judge. Get away with the judgment and allow yourself to learn. Be a student as well.
Exactly.